So before we can make our first GitHub repository, we first need to log into our different accounts. So you can go to your browser and in the search bar you search for GitHub, then you go and log in, and then you log into your account. Now before we can even create the same GitHub repository, we first of all need to make sure that we have an access token. Now access tokens are what you'll be using whenever you need to push the changes on your local machine to the repository on GitHub. So you first of all log in, which we've done. Then you click on the picture in the top right corner and you scroll downwards to settings. So you scroll downwards, then you click on settings. Then once it loads, you again scroll down. Then you go on developer settings. You then click on personal access tokens. Then you go on tokens classic. You then click on generate new token. Then you go on generate new token classic. So for mine, it hasn't brought any authentication needed. But then for some of you guys, you've probably seen something like no authenticate using Git mobile. So when it says authenticate using Git mobile, you simply tap on that if you want to use your mobile device. So you tap on that, then you see a number on the screen, and that's the same number that you enter on the notification that you receive on your mobile device. So once you do that, you approve. So once that is done, you can add something here under the note area. So you can add a description of what the tokens are for or what this token is for. So for example, you can simply say git log or git log if you want. Then once you do that, you need to click on repo. So you click on repo, which will mark all these that are here. So you click on repo, then you also click on admin repo hook, which will also mark these. Then next you click on delete repo. So once you click on this, you can now generate your token. Of course, you can also, I don't want to click on it because I already generated a token. So once you click on that, you will probably also find a part that will ask you for how many days you want to keep the token for, like the number of days that you want the token to last for before it expires. And you can always renew the token whenever it expires. So once we are done with that and you see your token, make sure that you copy the token and keep it somewhere safe and somewhere where you can easily have access to it so that you can always use it whenever you want to push something to your GitHub repository. So once we are done, you then go to the top left corner on the 3 horizontal lines. So you tap on that and you go to home. Once it loads, you click on new. Then you can now write your repository name. So my repository name is going to be maybe I can call it something like temporal. So I'll call my repository name temporal. Then if I want, I can add a description. So I can just say this is a repository that I'll be using for the tutorial. So I can add this as a description of the repository. Then once I'm done, I can choose whether I want it to be public or I want it to be private. I'm just going to leave it on public. And if I want, I can add a .gitignore. Of course, we'll come to this later. Then you can also choose a license. A license tells others what they can and can't do with. So I'm just going to ignore that. I'll just say none. Then from there, we can now create the repository. So once a repository has been created, this is the new visual that will come. So you come down, then once you scroll down, you see this. Then you copy this URL, https://github.com. So you copy that. Then once you copy it, you go to your Ubuntu or Linux. Then from here you say git clone. So you say git clone, then you paste the URL that you copied. So let's just copy the URL again. So I've copied it. Then you go to your Ubuntu or Linux and you paste it. Then you press enter. Okay, so it's saying warning, you appear to have cloned an empty repository, and this is totally okay because we haven't added anything to this repository yet. We haven't made any files, we haven't added any readme file or anything, and so it's fine. So it will show that you appear to have cloned an empty repository. And so once you clone into that repository, it's now going to come as a directory, which is a Git repository on your local machine. So if I run ls, so temporal has come as a directory. So now I can change directory to temporal. I can change directory to temporal, and now I'm in the Git repository. So if I'm to say ls, then a, which will also show the hidden files, I'll see the .git file. So this will simply show that this is a Git repository, and so now we can use we can make files, and then after we are done, we can then push them to our GitHub repository on GitHub.